sshfs mount without compression or encryption. I am a very frequent user of sshfs for mounting various disks over the network. I do, however, have a very small machine with an Atom processor from which I need to mount a directory using sshfs. Is it possible to disable all compression and perhaps even also encryption when mounting using sshfs, as to limit the CPU usage on the machine from which the directory is mounted?
Although the high-performance SSH adds a NUN cipher, the ARC4 cipher is nearly as fast and is included standard. Use those ciphers equals ARC4. I've been using this over the local network and I get about 85% of 100 MB/s Ethernet or about 10.625 MB/s. In response Vava's answer, SSHFS would still be what it is even when SSH's encryption is off, as the authentication protocol would still be active, without which you might as well be using Telnet. Note for at OSCs, I recently found OpenSol cipher selection which includes the following graph. The following is the results section from that page. The graph and the results are questionable as they don't state how the benchmark was done and on what hardware, but I think that they aren't that far off. "100,000 kilobytes per second is my threshold for acceptable performance. This represents one CPU core, of 8 in my case, running at 100% utilization to transfer 780 MB/s of data, which is a reasonable saturation point for a gigabit Ethernet link. RC4 is the fastest cipher, if you are using a processor which does not support SNI. ICE128 is the next fastest cipher, and much faster than RC4 if you have SNI support. It's about 54% slower if you don't. ICE256 is slower still, and unless explicitly configured otherwise, any browser that supports ICE128 will also support ICE256. What has been quoted above clearly shows that ARC4, and also ICE with SNI, can saturate a gigabit link on a modern machine. If you don't need encryption, the NUN cipher from HPN SSH is even faster, but you would only need it if you need to saturate a link with several times the bandwidth of a gigabit link or if you need reduced CPU usage.
For SFTP with no encryption, use SSHFS plus SOCAT. On the server side run. And on the client side. Source: this URL.
There is no way to disable encryption. This is SSH after all. And it looks like compression is disabled by default as you have to request it with the C switch. But you may want to check your //.ssh/config file for settings regarding compression. If you add the following lines at the top of that file, compression should be disabled. You can mount with compression equals no to turn the compression off. It is not possible to turn encryption off. Wouldn't be SSHFS after that smile. If it is slow, I suggest to use other way to mount a directory, like through Samba, NFS or FTP.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.